Well,
Cool.
we're live.
Alright.
Thanks for coming on, you guys. I'm on today with my sister Rose and my mom Deborah.
Do you know my name was just mom?
Is it Yeah, Deborah.
No kids don't know their mom's names.
No.
Dubba.
I remember as a little kid being like so confused when someone told me your name was Deborah. Because I didn't know what what do you mean? I thought her name was Mom. I thought that for an embarrassingly long time.
Did you see the movie Lion?
Yeah, I love that movie.
And that's really sad because part of the reason that he can't find his mother is because he doesn't know his mother's name.
Yeah.
I've always known
just
your
call
name
them
because your
Mom.
name is my name.
Yeah, makes sense.
Oh, yeah. I forgot
Same
about
name.
that for a couple minutes.
Me too.
I know.
Same
So
initials too.
I did a video last night with Dad and Grant, who have the same name as well.
What?
And so when I went to put in the names for the title, it was Russell Grant Fletcher and Russell Grant Fletcher. So I was like, oh, save time. I'll just put
Cool.
this was with the Russells. Save a little bit of space on my title.
My eyes just got blurry all of
To
a
the
sudden.
second power. So Deborah R. Fletcher and Deborah R. Fletcher.
Well, yours is like
That's right.
DIARF.
If I use all my middle names, do you know them?
Deborah Idalia Ane Ruano Fletcher.
Nice.
Castellanos? Isn't that in there somewhere?
That would be my maiden name. So I finally dropped one name.
Oh,
But it's supposed
okay.
to be De Fletcher. Like I belong to the Fletcher guy.
Oh, so
Only when
all
you're
those
Latin.
names De Fletcher.
Yeah.
Castellanos De Fletcher or just you?
Ruano De Fletcher.
Oh,
Because that's my dad's name. Castellanos is the mother's name. You dropped that one.
Oh, I see. So are all of those previous names of the husbands? They're all patriarchal names?
No.
Your
My
name,
husband's-
your name means
Not
something
your
about
husband's.
bees.
my mother-in-law thought it was that. She said, has she been divorced? People were asking.
Well, no.
Because
Weren't
it has
you
a
like
little middle
19?
names. 17.
How
18.
how would you? Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're not patriarchal names. They're just my middle names. Like instead of Reed Bennett Fletcher, it would be Reed Antonio
Right.
Bennett Fletcher.
So you don't share any of those other names?
No,
with
I don't
anyone
usually
else?
use them. They're just
Doesn't
middle
your
names.
name making honey or something?
Yes, Deborah means worker bee.
Pretty close.
Well, that's cool to live in Utah, which is the beehive state, and be worker bee.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it's a worker bee.
Dad
And
told me when I was a kid that Reed meant redneck. I don't know if that's true. As
It's
a
a
joke, but I've
tumbleweed.
never heard anything
I
else.
think it means the reed plant,
Yeah, the tumbleweed.
Yeah, there's the reed plant, and it's also deer
or
backwards.
reed.
Yes,
how
that one
about,
as well. I like that one.
I wonder what rose means. A rose.
Rosa. Pink.
Rosa. So Rose, in the beginning of the school year, we decided to do homeschooling because I wasn't able to see her very much because I was traveling all over the world. You know why she's laughing? You gotta
No,
tell
I
him
don't know why she's laughing.
Tell him why she's
So,
laughing first.
We started homeschooling in October, and then we went to Egypt and Jordan.
Uh-huh.
So we just continued our homeschool stuff. And then we get back, and then I go to school for a week, and then we go to Australia. And then we come back, and Mom was like, let's transfer to a normal junior high school.
She
so we
wanted to normal junior high school.
Transfer to a normal junior high school, and then 4 days later, quarantine happened, so I've been in school for 2 weeks and 4 days.
Over the course of the last
School
year?
Yep.
Yes, but the Alpine, she's laughing because of the Alpine school
Alpine
district
School
announcement.
District just announced that you can't fail this grade. It's nothing goes lower than a C. If you get anything lower than a C, you just pass.
So you just lucked out. You just
She's
missed an
passing
entire
7th
year.
grade.
Oh man, that's the dream.
Oh, so Rachel was like, "That's not fair," because she goes to the private schools
Yeah.
that she was going to. She still has to do all her homework.
So
But
you
Rose
just
is
chill now?
I guess she still has to do it.
I
Well, I mean,
Also,
school ends in a couple weeks. I'm
my
assuming.
account in the public school system hadn't activated fully, so even if I wanted to do school, my account isn't in the system.
Right. So she can access this stuff. So we are gonna go through math, and she's actually gonna try to do 7th grade and 8th grade math, so
And
she can
skip to
jump
ninth.
to 9th grade. She wants to skip 2 years.
Dang, and you skipped the perfect years to skip.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Those are the years that
Useless.
everyone hates.
They're useless,
Yep.
right? She knows the stuff. She already wrote a book when she was 10. So.
What's it called? Can we buy it?
No, it's really bad.
It's so cute.
You should put a book on Amazon. It can't be that hard.
It's like 100 pages, but the person who edited it isn't very good at editing, so there's like a bunch of mistakes in it.
Yeah.
Who edited it?
It was a college student we paid. And she didn't fix the typos because we were in England. So when we wanted to have them edited while we were gone and printed and send it to England so she can take it to Oxford.
Those last 4 sentences we said 4 different countries.
So she went to Oxford. Tell them why you went to Oxford.
I went to Oxford to do a Oxford writing camp.
So we wanted to have the little book already printed, but we didn't have time to do it beforehand. So they mailed it to Oxford for us.
Yeah.
And we do have a copy. You should take one.
What's it called?
Gift.
When did you write it? How old?
10 years old.
How old are you now?
I'm 13.
Dang.
Just barely. 13.
That's awesome.
It's so cute. You like it.
That is so cool.
I have copies upstairs.
I feel like I was a better writer back then than I am now. I tried to write something the other day and I was like, what is English?
Now that you've had actual world experiences, you're like, I don't need to write this stuff down. I lived it.
How many countries did you visit?
I'm just lazier now. How many countries have I visited or how many countries did I visit?
How many countries did you visit in your life until now?
9.
Is that crazy?
That is crazy.
How in the heck?
I didn't go out of the country ever until my mission. Until I was...
Well, I also counted America.
20. Okay, so I had one.
There's America, Canada, Guatemala, France, England, Egypt, Jordan, Philippines, and Australia.
Dang.
Yeah, but that's only the last 2 years, right?
We went to the Canada when I did my last haunted house, I think.
October 2018.
Yeah, but I still had brown hair, so it couldn't have been last year. And then we did France and England in between 5th and 6th grade.
Right. So you wanted us to tell you why we were in Australia for 3 months instead of just a week.
Yeah, I've been wanting to hear the story. I have no idea what happened, and so
I was asleep. Don't ask me.
Surprise! Yeah, where have you guys been? I haven't seen you in so long.
Across the world.
I was just in my room. You probably wouldn't have noticed.
Rose became like an international pop sensation.
She did. So, that's a long story. Where do we start?
I always just start when we went to the Philippines.
Yeah, and what were you gonna go see in Australia, and why you wanted to come?
Okay.
I like it.
So we went to the Philippines with Paola, our cousin, and it was really fun. But the whole reason I went, I didn't really want to go because I actually don't like traveling very much. I don't like traveling, yeah. And I I'd just gotten back from Egypt and Jordan, so I was like, I don't want to go. But then I found out that 2 of my favorite YouTubers who are contortionists from Australia, the Rybka Twins, they were doing a meet and greet right where we were in Australia at the same time. So I was like, okay, I'll go see them and then get their book and they'll sign it because I love them so much. And so I went with Paola because Paola's also a really big fan of them. And so we get to Australia and we're having a great time. We go to the beach. We stayed at this nice beach house that had no Wi-Fi. And we saw a lot of spiders. And then we were driving to Perth to get the book signing. Why do I keep doing this?
It's the ocean waves. The Hawaiian.
I think I was just doing a TikTok dance. Yeah.
Why are you so obsessed with me?
I forgot the dance. So we were driving and I fell asleep, but I remember we had strawberries. What happened?
So she fell asleep without a seatbelt.
Okay.
And I was there for a conference. It was a week-long conference about. It's a complicated way to explain it.
Warm data.
Right. She was part of the conference listening in.
I was not listening.
She knows the name.
The most important thing.
The most I've ever spent on TikTok was during that conference because we were just there all day.
It was for adults. But she did a good job just pretending.
What is it?
So it was a Warm Data Lab.
Warm Data?
Warm Data Lab host training.
Okay.
And what that means is that when you're trying to solve a problem, let's say that we're trying to deal with refugees and their problems and how to help them. Most of the time, people just invite experts, and the experts decide all the stuff for the refugees, and they're out there.
Yeah.
So this whole training was about, okay, so if you want to solve somebody's problem, first of all, they should be in the room. Because they're the ones that know what their problem really is and how they want it solved and what the problem... Anyway, so that's what it was. So there's this woman from Sweden that came to Australia, and that's what I went. And I said, hey, Rose, come with me. I don't want to leave you home for another week. Come with me and let's bring Paola. So we paid for Paola to come.
Love Paola.
Yeah, Paola is like the best friend ever for both of us.
Now I have so many great videos of her.
Yeah, Paola's awesome.
Yeah, she's cute. Anyway, so that's what I was doing. So and we stayed at the beach house, and every morning I would go to my conference, and they will come with me most days.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, we drove from the beach house, like at 8 in the morning, and we packed our stuff on our way to Perth, which is about 2 hours away. We had driven from Perth, from the airport, to this conference in Bunbury.
Okay.
Busselton is just 2 hours south.
Sounds correct.
It sounds
Yeah.
mostly in the middle of nowhere.
I live in
They could be
Australia.
made up cities. I have no clue. I don't know anything
Could have
about
been a
Australia.
made up country.
Yeah. And there's a very rural area, so the stores close at 7. Actually, they do that in Perth too. But anyway, they're
close
tiny,
so
tiny little
early.
place.
Mm-hmm.
And we never really ran into many cars because it was very rural, kind of a farm-like.
I hope we didn't run into any cars.
Oh, we didn't for a while. For a whole week, we didn't run into cars. And then in our way out of town, we ran into a car.
I thought they ran into us.
Both.
You
It
ran
was-
into each other.
That doesn't make any sense.
So it wasn't their fault.
So it was like...
So I was 10 minutes, not even, I'm going about 35 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And the roads in Australia, this is rural Australia, right? So they're narrow, and there's no lines of any kind. Like, there just isn't any road sign of any kind. Anyway, so I was just turning a normal left. We're all happy in the car, ready to go meet the twins.
I was sleeping.
And I was turning left, but of course, in my American brain, this is a one-way road because I never been to that road yet.
Yeah.
Because our conference was the other direction. So we turned left, and I just turned a wide left comfortably in a one-way road. But it wasn't a one-way road, and it was a 65-mile-an-hour highway, and no signs and no dotted lines of any kind. So the other
That
car,
sounds dangerous.
yeah, especially since Australia drives on the left side of the road, and I've driven in England.
Choose the right.
Yeah, choose the right. We when he was talking, we went to Oxford. I drove to Oxford and London on and off, so I wasn't worried about the left being on the wrong side of the road in Australia. So I was actually feeling fairly comfortable, and maybe that's what it was. I was feeling comfortable. This is like, I got this. So anyway, I turned left, and there's this utility truck coming, bigger than a F-150, but not a full-on truck.
What's
not
an
an
F-150?
18-wheeler, or we would be toast. So if you're going, so I'm turning here, and I'm going really slow. Of course, I just stopped, and I was about to turn. I turned wide, and this car is coming, and I'm just going 25 miles, whatever the turn is, not very
just
far.
chilling.
And then it just, I realized, and because he was coming so fast, and he was right in front of me, like within seconds in my mind, right as I turned, this car is coming full blast, and of course, with my American brain, I'm gonna go to that side, right?
Mm-hmm.
You evade traffic by going on that side, because if I went this way with my American brain, I would hit cars. Even though, so he, with his Australian brain, did the same. So we both met each other on the shoulder. But I actually have some friends that, one friend of mine has a friend that had the same exact accident. Everybody in the car died, except for one. And it was just such a blessing that we hit just in the right spot, that he hit our hood
That it only
on this side. Because remember, I'm on the wrong side, so I'm sitting here in a tiny little airport car, this massive pickup truck with the equipment in it, going like 65 miles an hour. Rose is here, and Paola is here. Paola was awake, and she's like, oh my gosh, and instantly she started to pray. It was like the sweetest thing. You would have been so proud. And she's praying out loud, Heavenly Father, please help us. Oh, and he's just talking to God. He said, please help us, please help us. And I could hear her talking, and I'm trying to react as quickly as I can, And of course, I reacted well enough to not get hit on. We would have been gone. Because our little car and this big truck would have gone, we would have been all gone. So anyway, the damage was mostly done to the car. But this sweet child has always had a seatbelt. Always.
I hate seatbelts.
Did not have a seatbelt on. And she was asleep in the back of the car.
I honestly don't know how it happened because I was laying like this and the truck came over here, so how did I break my skull?
So what we are guessing...
That's a good question.
And my foot. My right foot.
I think she was more like this. Because that's how she sits in the car.
I remember very distinctly laying on the seat.
Probably. But, oh, yeah, you could have been laying down.
Yeah.
Oh, so then you could have hit the... that's a good mystery. So he was sitting where you are. Does that make sense? Paola here. So if she was laying down, she hit right there. So it could have been the console between the seats.
That's what I thought it was. I always thought it was the console, just hearing it, the description.
Wait, then what happened to my back?
So the impact, because they hit us, I brake like crazy, so I broke everything here, sternum and clavicle, and bruised and bent, like this whole seatbelt thing from stopping the car. And so I think the impact of it whacked you back and forth.
That's
right?
fun.
Anyway, so she doesn't remember that. I think the rest of it you remember, but so luckily I'm pretty level-headed, just probably because he's not my first child.
Very surprised.
I did not go crazy. I was such a blessing. I was calm. And I tried to open my door and it was fairly impossible to open. And of course I didn't know I had a broken clavicle, but I finally got out and all the things were inflated, so no glass broke. Right. So anyway, so I opened the door on this side, which is the one that I could get Paola out. She had blood everywhere. She just went like something like this, cut inside. We thought it was a broken jaw. And then Rose was there, and that was a pretty scary moment. I think I did pay for a psychologist for Paola because when both of us saw her, she looked dead. There was no way she wasn't. The gap right here, the teeny, was about that wide. And deep as wide. And she just, because she was asleep, she looked like she was gone. And Paola was so cute. While I was trying to jump I could hear when I was opening this door and trying to open their door, that was also jammed. She was saying, Rose, wake up, come on, wake up, Rosie, no, you can't be dead, just wake up. I'm praying and talking to her. It was like the sweetest thing. So she finally comes out, and gently I was able to, because she was pretty unconscious, but we realized she was alive because she said, or something. But we kept talking to her. And she eventually, from there to here, I was sitting the other direction on the if this is the door, I was sitting like this, facing there.
Okay. With
my feet out there. And gently had her move as gently as I could so that she could lay on my lap still until we could get some help. I don't want to talk the whole time because I want you to the hospital thing, when you remember, is pretty, very, very intense and very difficult. But the thing I do want to say, this is rural Australia. There were no houses anywhere. We drove those roads before, except for that road we hadn't driven, but there were no houses anywhere.
Like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
it
no
was
people.
Just like forest and kangaroos.
Yeah, lots of kangaroos. But the weird thing is that out of nowhere, this woman showed up and helped Paola. I said, Paola. I mean, she called her Paola. Paola, can I help you? And she's bleeding. And then some guy showed up, and some other woman showed up and gave me a piece of clean cloth because I had done first aid before, not on your own child, and but still, right. I was okay with it. I knew when not to move her, not to lift her. She was laying down, and I was already kind of putting pressure on her and trying to keep her head elevated. So I had my legs kind of crossed a little bit so that she wouldn't be completely flat because she was just breathing. And
I remember getting in the helicopter. That was pretty cool.
You remember that?
The miracle thing.
They were just talking to me.
Yeah, so the crazy thing is, not only were there 3 people that showed up out of nowhere, but the guy, it happened to be his house there, but it was so far into the woods, they heard the crash, and they drove out of their house into the road. We found out later, we didn't know this then, that he was an ambulance coordinator. So
Really?
yeah, how crazy is that? So he had first aid kits, and they had first aid kits with them. They didn't know it was an accident, but they had in the car, they had their stuff, and they of course really knew what to do. But the craziest thing is, if she went to an ambulance, she wouldn't have made it. From ambulance to the little Bunbury Hospital, which was like a tiny little place, she would not be alive. She wouldn't have made it. Does that make sense? He wasn't sophisticated enough. But I could hear him talking in between, and I was like swatting the flies. Lots of red dirt, lots of flies. Swatting the flies because Rose kept saying, Mom, get those flies. I hate the flies.
I hated those flies.
I said, I love you, Mommy. Thank you, Mommy. She kept saying, thank you, Mommy. Thank you for killing you. You know, it was like the hardest thing to hear. But anyway, it was really sweet. She would say, thank you, Mommy. But the thing about that guy, he kept saying, no, we don't need an ambulance. We need a helicopter. You need to get a helicopter. These are the vital signs. I mean, he kept saying things to the guys, so he convinced them. It took like 45 minutes for the helicopter to get there. And I went with Paola in the ambulance to the local hospital because they could only take one person in their helicopter. I wasn't going to leave my little 12-year-old niece out there by herself in Australia in a hospital, you know?
Right.
And the hospital that she went to was 2.5 hours away. So I stayed with her.
You can keep talking.
Perfect. I'm going to go get the dress. Should I go get the dress?
What dress?
Do you want to see the dress
What dress?
that I was wearing?
Yeah, you can.
I want lemonade. Well, it's like not like I can like see everything. I just like remember, kind of.
Yeah. Like little moments and stuff, probably.
I remember wondering why Mom wasn't driving, because I was laying in her lap. I was like, weren't we in the car? But I don't remember feeling any pain. Oh, we found Paola's shirt that she was wearing.
Really?
When we were unpacking her closet. We found it, and it still had blood on the front. I have a picture of it, I think.
Oh, crazy.
Be very hard to find, though.
So you went and grabbed the dress that you were wearing?
Yeah.
You didn't wash it?
No, of course not. This is a special reminder that a miracle happened. See that?
Oh my gosh.
So this is, I was bent over and her head was, so her head would have been right here. So you can see how the blood was splattering up. It's not like I was laying on her, but it was splattering enough.
Wow.
And the blood doesn't bother me, but it's the thing that was the worst was this little, I thought it was gray matter from the brain. All these little grayish bumps, like
What was it?
fat from the brain, I don't know. Because the
No,
sac
my
of the
brain's-
brain never
Can I see
broke.
it?
The sac of the brain didn't break. Isn't that wild?
But I kind of remember.
Look at that. Oh my gosh. I wonder if they can see that.
I don't know, I see little splatters everywhere, but and right
Oh,
here,
that's crazy.
I bruised my knee and everything because
Can I see?
right there,
That's cool.
my knee with the dashboard just went trying to stop it. My knee just got. And then by the time the helicopter people came.
I'm just gonna close the door.
Yeah, my legs were so asleep because I really hard not to move and try to talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
Going like this with her head, trying to swipe the flies, and I couldn't figure out why they hurt so bad because this was broken, right?
Yeah. Oh.
And so, but everything was asleep. I literally just kind of had to roll myself, and I didn't have shoes on because I had just taken them off.
Mm-hmm.
I had to roll myself out of the car because my legs were asleep. And I just laid on the red dirt for a few minutes until my legs could work again.
I actually remember the fly thingy.
Yeah.
But I don't really. It's not like I remember it happening after we were in the car. I remember it happening at some point. I remember laying in your lap.
Yeah.
And I remember being really annoyed that flies kept landing on my face.
Yes.
But
yes,
I don't
they did.
remember anything hurting.
When you go into something that shocking, your body kind of provides adrenaline and stuff that.
But I do remember getting in the helicopter, and the helicopter lady was very nice.
So then we didn't see little girl for at least 4 hours because we were there in the other hospital for a couple of hours. Then we drove up the stake president from some random stake. Daddy called it's the local stake president, and he showed up and took us from the hospital to the other hospital. And then Rosie probably remembers a bunch of the other stuff.
Oh, I remember. Well, I don't remember a lot of stuff. I remember after I kept on having really weird dreams, but I don't actually remember being awake. I remember I kept dreaming that I was walking around and then I got super tired, so I would sit down. And then it was like, instead of waking up, it just like blurred into reality.
Mm-hmm.
So like, where I sat down, it was actually just me laying in my hospital bed. And I remember our room, I thought it was outside.
Yes.
I thought whenever Mom would open the door, it was like a screen door, and I thought I was just like sitting on the couch. And then like, I remember...
She was heavily sedated.
Right.
Mom made us tea one time, and I remember walking over to get it. But I didn't walk for a long time. And then I sat on a couch, and I was like, Mom, I want to drink this in my bed. And she was like, you are in your bed. And I was like, no, I moved over to the couch.
Do you remember the conveyor belt thing?
Oh,
It's so funny.
So they had to like change my brace and stuff every day to make sure. Oh yeah, I wore a neck brace. It was like from here down to here, and they had to change it out so that it would be like supporting me enough so it didn't get loose. They just changed it out like
Make sure there were no bed sores.
a lot of times.
What
So
are
they had
bed
to
sores?
flip it. Do you know when you have a contraction like that, you can get sores,
Yeah.
like just from not wiping it and
Oh,
cleaning it.
like because it's moist.
I
And
never got any sores.
No.
Nice.
But I remember thinking that I was in like a warehouse and they were putting me on one of those airport conveyor belts and pulling me through the luggage thingy, and I was so
She had been through
confused.
so many airports.
I was so confused. I was like, why am I going through the luggage thing if I'm in the airport?
And you know what it was? It was a CT scan.
It was,
Oh, okay.
So they put her through
I
this
was
machine
so
like a conveyor belt.
confused.
That's really funny.
But I remember my next memory after that is just the Rybka Twins coming.
Yeah, so between the Rybka Twins and
Stuff happened between that. I thought it was like right before.
yeah,
after
that was 3 days.
I guess you're hearing the story for the
What?
first time too.
That was 3 days?
Yeah, so
Why
this
don't I
happened
remember anything?
because you were drugged.
Because you got smashed in the head.
Yeah, so we got there. This happened around 8:30 in the morning. By the time she got to the hospital, it was probably 10 because it really took them a while to get her
Oh,
in.
we
the
woke up
room.
so early that day.
I know, it was like a whole 7.
And they
Oh,
ruined
no.
my favorite pair of leggings.
And they did have to
What
cut
pair
her
of
legs
leggings were you wearing?
I was wearing these really nice Fabletics leggings that had pockets.
with
And
her
I had
phone in
my,
it.
yeah, I had my phone in my pocket.
What happened to your phone? Did it get smashed?
No, I
No,
got it.
it's completely fine.
Oh, really? The phone survived?
Yeah, I gave it to
The
Vanessa
necklace.
Arkell. I have a new phone now.
Nice.
And then, but they cut off my favorite shirt and my favorite pair of leggings because I was wearing my favorite outfit. And my sweatshirt.
That belongs
My,
to his
my
friend.
friend's sweatshirt that I was borrowing.
Oh, does the friend know?
A boy
I don't know how to
that's
break
really
this to you.
cute. He
You
did-
can have the sweatshirt. You just have to go get it.
I've
from
actually
Australia.
had it since like July. I just forgot to give it
4th
back.
of July. Because he was going to, it was the 4th of July. We left to Guatemala at 4 in the morning.
Uh-huh.
So I
and
was just
they
like,
have been there.
so that's a different story.
Yeah, it's funny. So it got cut and it was bloody, but we fixed it and we sewed it together
It's
and he
fixed.
has it
It's
now.
upstairs. No, I still have a
You
problem.
haven't returned it?
I was like, hey, do you want
You
your
sewed
sweatshirt?
it back together?
Yeah.
I
You-
sent it to a sewing place in Australia.
I
Does it just
texted
have like a
him
big blood stain on it?
Yeah,
No,
it did, everywhere.
They cleaned it up.
But
It's
the-
just a maroon shirt now instead of a
yeah,
gray one.
instead of grey.
I texted him. I was like,
cut-
hey, do you want your sweatshirt back? And he was like, no, you can keep it. You have a lot of memories with it now.
Yeah, they cut
Yeah,
the
I'd
sleeve.
keep it.
So they cut the other sleeve to make it match. It was great.
But
That's funny.
I had this very cute lemon shirt on.
I remember that
And
lemon shirt.
I handpicked my outfit, so it would be very cute.
Because you're meeting the Rybka Twins
Yeah.
that day, right?
Yeah, I was so excited. So I put on my favorite outfit,
Naturally.
and then it just got ruined, and now I don't have any leggings.
So what
And I
happened
just outgrew
is,
my other favorite pair of leggings.
by the time I got to the hospital, the emergency, she was already in the ICU. The emergency room ladies had cleaned her up and they were so sweet.
So
The
this
lady-
is like hours later.
Yeah, because it takes 2.5 hours to get
Was
there.
Paola still in the other hospital?
She was with me. No, I waited until she was taken care of.
Oh, okay.
They taped her up.
And then you drove from the hospital with Paola to the hospital that Rose had been life flighted to.
And the stake president drove us because we,
Oh.
of course, didn't have a car
Right.
anymore.
I remember the ICU
Right.
nurse. She was
And
so
I couldn't
nice.
drive. I didn't have an arm.
Yeah. Probably didn't want to drive right then either.
Oh, you remember the ICU?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
kind of. So I remember you guys fed me strawberries.
Yes.
I
Not,
really
not then, but later, yes.
Yeah, and me and Dad watched The Parent Trap at like 3 a.m. And then my nurse was really, really nice. But then I had like an infection with one of my tubes, so they just had to like yank it out of my body and it really hurt.
Ouch.
Yeah, it hurt a lot.
It's a catheter. The catheter was
Infected.
clogged. No, it was just clogged, so they had to take it out. But before the Rybka Twins came, you
freaking
gotta tell
bad.
that story. The Rybka Twins, before they came, she got there in the morning. They got her stable, got her to the ICU. I remember that's just me and Paola now. There was no dad, there wasn't anybody else, just the two of us. And we got to go see her at the ICU. And she was stable, but she was pretty much out of it.
What
Because
was the nurse's name?
I don't
She
know.
was the really
Beck
nice
Top.
one, right?
Beck was my favorite.
I thought she had a really weird name.
Oh, there was another one. Yeah.
She was my favorite.
Yeah,
Except
she
for
was the
Paris.
Scottish
Paris
one.
was my favorite.
Yeah. So she
I saw that on your Instagram, the Scottish one.
Yeah. So she was, I think she was pretty much out of it. And she got like 30 little machines, those little ICU things.
Yeah.
And she had a poking in every crevice that you can.
Oh, it was so great. Couldn't move my body at all.
Acupuncture.
Acupuncture.
Yeah, it was literally just like one in my hand, one in like my wrist, one in my elbow, one in my bicep.
Yeah, like every hinge. So,
So awful.
by pure miracle, I ran into the doctor that was operating on her. I didn't know that's who it was, but I was just I just started to walk to the bathroom, just like I just walked out of the room for a moment, just needed to walk out, felt like I needed to. And then they said, "Oh, are you the American mom?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "So your daughter, I'm operating on her on Tuesday." And I said to him,
It was a Saturday, right?
it was a Saturday. And I said, "Oh." I said to him, "What is it? Because it's the best thing for my daughter?" And I very nicely, but you don't usually contact the doctors, but I just felt like I needed to say,
Yeah.
"Or is it because it's convenient to you guys?" And he's like, "Oh, it's convenient to us because we don't have anything scheduled." And then he said, "But I'll talk to the team." So crazy stuff. This happened before the Rybka Twins, but she was
It was
awake.
so awful.
So Sunday morning, they decided to do a first thing Sunday morning instead.
So the next day.
Yeah, and of course Dad hadn't been there yet because I called Daddy. Took 24 hours plus all getting...
Fun fact, we got into the crash on Dad's birthday.
Yeah, I remember.
Which
I was
is
with
lovely.
Dad celebrating his birthday.
Oh, yeah,
Perfect
Rachel was
birthday
driving.
present.
She said she freaked out.
That means we had 3 different birthdays in Australia.
Right.
Technically, his birthday was also there, but he wasn't with us, so.
Yeah, 3 birthdays. So here's the thing that was weird. So they operated first thing on Sunday morning. And again, I'm so grateful that simple little conversation saved her life in another layer, right? First those angels that showed up, and now this conversation. When they went in there to clean up the wound, and she was so stable, and nothing was swelling or anything, that they hadn't thought it was a big deal, not until Tuesday, even though she had a gap like this,
Yeah, I was just chilling.
I know. When they went in there is when the brain started to swell as they were doing the operation. Should have been a 3-hour thing. It was like 10 hours. So then Paola and I were kind of waiting for it to go. They never came out until they really late at night. And they said, "You know what? We're not gonna wake her up tonight because come see her in the morning." So we hadn't seen her for a whole day, right?
Didn't you say that you were listening to one of my favorite songs on there?
Oh my gosh, yeah, you might get me crying. So what they had to do, they had to cut this entire side of the brain, of the skull. And that saved her. She probably could have stayed alive, but it could have been a vegetable, because her brain was swelling right at the moment of the operation, that she could have become mentally slow or damaged. So
They gave me lots of tests. They asked me the same questions every day, and it was incredibly boring.
yeah. So that operation happened, and she didn't remember any of that. She came out of the operation. I wonder if that's when Dad was there. And she came out of the operation with a feeding tube and everything.
I hate feeding tubes.
And all those things. And we didn't know if she had any brain damage. We didn't know if she could talk. We didn't know any of that. So that was a really crucial moment, wasn't it? You don't remember that because you were asleep. They took everything off a little bit at a time. That was on the second operation. So 2 operations happened before the twins, baby.
I remember when they took out the one in my hand, and it was the last one.
Yes.
Because they took out this one before. This one was annoying.
Yeah.
So they put this IV in my arm, and then they put wood planks on top and bottom of it because I wasn't allowed to bend my arm, and if I bent my arm, it would beep. And so I just had to sit like this all day.
Oh.
And it was
on
awful.
both arms, yeah.
Yeah, it was so bad. Then they finally took this one out, so I could bend this arm, but I still had one in this hand. And then they finally took. Oh, it just hurts holding my arm like that for 5 seconds.
Yeah, because I think Dad got there by Tuesday, because they're a day ahead of
Yeah,
us.
because we were hanging out with them.
Yeah.
So they did this other operation right here. So she had broken a clavicle. One of the
this one right
the
here.
vertebrae
It's
right
bumpy.
there.
Do you want to feel it?
Yeah. Sure.
yeah, her vertebrae right there.
Is this the bumpy? Doesn't feel like weird or anything.
No, it's not. It's
It
normal.
feels just like how mine feels.
Yeah, it's just right under the bumpy is where the
She had
vertebrae
broken
broke.
some in the middle of her back, and they put that's why they put the brace. So they took which hip side?
This one.
They took
I stabbed my phone.
they took a piece of her hip bone, fashioned a vertebrae, and put it there, but they went through the front, so that they wouldn't damage her spine.
Oh yeah, I remember you were telling me that they could have damaged my vocal cords.
Yeah.
That
And
would
they
have been
didn't?
awful.
No, she's fine. And
I
right
would
here,
have never been able to sing Into the Unknown.
so they did a whole little, like they did a little lawnmower, looked like a little tiny baby lawnmower across like this.
You cannot tell.
But it does grow.
I mean, now that you've pulled it out, I can see that there's shorter hairs, but like you're not.
Rachel
so is there a
tried
big
to
scar
straighten
right
it.
there?
Yeah, if you feel on
See
the
the spot?
sides,
Oh, I can see it. Yeah.
feel right here, like there's bumps.
Yeah.
That's what this did.
It's so funny. I have a
I
scar
think
that's
the
like
drainage
this
was on
big.
this side. Feel.
I have like a 1-inch scar and I always show it off, and
Yeah,
this
that's
one
the
is
drainage.
literally
The
across your
drainage-
entire head.
Yeah.
They put like this weird pipe thingy right here that took out like this weird
The liquid.
liquid from my brain.
They
It's
took the extra
leaking,
drainage.
or-
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
They will have to wash her brain. Actually, she was brainwashed in us.
I was very much in Australia.
To be
I
a
also
really good kid.
I fractured my foot. I have this gnarly scar on my foot.
Where? Oh.
She could probably lift it up.
Sure, go ahead. Yes, you can. That's one of the benefits of being so flexible.
She's such a good dancer. So all of that happened for the twins. And
Really?
Dad finally showed up.
I have no sense of when things happen.
No, she finally showed up, and we take that. They took the feeding tube and stuff.
Hated the feeding tube so much. I remember some things like rage. I hated that feeding tube.
Yeah, they finally take it off. She still has the 30 machines, and she said, I want hot chocolate. And we're just like, she can talk, and she can think, and she's hungry. I said, I'm so hungry, Mommy, I'm so hungry. So we found every apple juice we could get a hold of because there were no hot
Still
chocolates.
I drink so much apple juice. I'm so sick of apple juice.
Also, I really wanted a cinnamon roll.
That was so cute.
So
I
her
wanna-
first words were, "I want hot chocolate."
Yeah.
I wish I said something like, I want dino nuggets. It would have been so much funnier.
But that was after the second operation. After the first operation, she
How
looked
many
at me and she
operations
said,
did I have?
"You're a snake." And I'm like, "No, I see spots on you. I have spots on my face." But and then he said, "No, I think you're a strawberry."
Oh, that's funny. A brown strawberry. You're a chocolate strawberry.
Do I have like a face?
Oh, there were spiders everywhere.
You know what that is?
Gosh.
So she's laying down,
So
right?
bad.
Remember
Never take that medicine.
Do you remember that thing? There was a
Oh.
bench right there.
Okay, so I would count the tiles on the ceiling every morning like you do when you can't move.
Right.
And she
And
was like literally like.
They were not symmetrical and not centered in the room, and it bothered me so bad. And every time my nurses came in, I would be like, I hate those tiles.
But there was a vent right above my bed, and you could like see through it, and there was definitely a giant spider in there.
And we told
Just
the doctor.
waiting.
You know what it was?
What?
Morphine makes you hallucinations of spiders for some reason. Because as soon as we said spiders, and the nurses were laughing. Oh, that's the morphine, huh?
I hate spiders.
The morphine makes you feel like you have spiders.
I
everywhere.
also had this really freaky dream that me and Paola were looking for this tiny little key in a trailer. And then when we walked out of the trailer, there was these spiders that were like this big. And I remember how they felt. They were like soft and hairy. And we had like kicked them
morphine.
aside. It was so awful.
Oh, that sounds like that scene from Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's probably where it came from. But they asked me the same questions every day. They were like, what's your name? What's your age? Where are you from? Where are you? Look at this picture. What is it? Memorize it. We will ask you tomorrow.
What was
And they
it?
would leave.
What was the picture?
It changed every day.
Oh, they tested you on the previous day's picture.
Yeah. And then the other lady, that's further in the timeline.
The twin show.
Yes. So, the Rybka twins look exactly the same. Okay?
They're twins.
So, like, I think I can show you a picture. They look exactly the same.
And I'll make sure to like put a picture of them on the video too.
And you have that picture of them with Rose and the book?
Yeah.
You have that picture on Instagram?
I posted it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. You're the one that posted it.
The Rybka Twins official. So this is the Rybka Twins.
Mm-hmm.
They look like almost literally exactly the same.
Yeah, they do.
So, as I am a very huge fan of the Rybka Twins, one of them showed up, and I remember exactly which one it was. On the left side of my bed, they were wearing bright pink sports bras and leggings, and they had very pretty wavy hair. And then I said, I can't tell who you are. Where's the other one?
Sam, right?
So the other one came.
Is that Keegan or something?
Tegan. Tegan was on this side, and Sam was on this side, and I got it right on my first try, even under all the medication.
Right, just walking.
Very proud of myself.
Yes.
And then they gave me, oh my gosh, I just found this the other day. When the camera like dies again, I'll find it. They gave me their book, and they wrote like in the front page, and they signed it, and then they gave me Jeffrey, my koala bear.
Such a cute baby.
Oh, really?
The one that she has next to her bed.
Yes.
You can go get it right now. Let's do it.
So fun to talk about her because she's not. The weird thing is that neither of us is like shocked by talking about it. Probably because she's fine.
Right.
But still, it's like I don't know. It's really.
So this is my book that they gave me. They wrote Twinning It. That one's Sam. That one's Tegan.
The book that you went all the way to Australia for.
Yeah.
Nearly died for.
Literally.
Well, if you think about it, your goal was to get the book signed, so you still got it signed.
I got it very specially signed.
She wouldn't have gotten that half of the attention that she got without the accident, right? Because it was a huge line, probably.
It says, 2 roads, dream big, hope you recover fast, all the best, Sam and Tegan.
They
That's
go into
awesome.
Paola too.
They get one to Paola too. And then this is my koala bear. His name is Jeffrey. He's very nice. He was in my hospital bed every night.
That's awesome.
You gotta tell them how they showed up to your hospital. It's like these guys are celebrities, right?
Uh-huh.
And they came to our hospital.
They showed up in bright pink.
Do you know why? You know how the whole thing happened?
Oh, so Dad posted on his Facebook. Do you wanna hold the book? Dad posted on his Facebook that I really wanted to meet them, and if there was any way that I could. And then his followers, friends, whatever they are on Facebook, decided to email the Rybka Twins, and their manager, who is their mom, emailed Dad and said, "We would be so glad to visit your daughter. Please tell your friends to stop emailing us."
They had like 200 emails.
Yeah, no, I remember. I emailed them too.
Oh, you
I
did?
emailed them. I posted about it. I DM'd both of them. I DM'd their other account because they have a joint account and they each have accounts.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I DM'd
Oh, we
them.
almost missed it. That morning, they didn't say they were coming or not. They said, we'll try to come.
Mm-hmm.
But they had been there on Saturday, right? That's when they were signing. And by then it was Tuesday.
Yeah, and they don't live in Perth. They live in Perth, I think. No, they live in, what is it called?
Is that our name? No.
I don't remember what it's called, but it's like not Perth.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 7 hours away. It's a flight. It's a long ways. Mervyn. No, what's that, Mervyn? Melbourne is a real place. Melbourne.
Oh, Melbourne, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought you
what
said Mervyn.
So did I. Mervyn.
Trying to do the accent. The Melbourne.
Melbourne.
So we're sitting. This is the morning, around 10 or so. One of our friends came to visit. Luke, remember Luke? That's the beach
Oh, yeah,
house we
he's
stayed
cool.
at. He's so cool.
He brought me a knife.
With fruit.
Not to keep it, though, just to cut fruit.
Oh.
He brought fruit and a knife in a cutting board.
And Toblerone.
So he came to visit that morning of the Rybka Twins. She was still asleep under sedation.
Uh-huh.
So they hadn't told us that she was ready to be seen. And when we were talking to him, just visiting, he said, "Oh, by the way, there were some girls in pink outfits downstairs." Because, Dad said, "I wonder if the Rybka Twins are going to make it. Because today it's been 3 days. I wonder if they're going to make it." And he said, "Oh, they're twins?" It's like, "Yeah. And are they likely to be wearing gymnastics clothes?" And we're like, "Yeah." He said, "I just saw them in the elevator. They didn't know where to go." And we're like, "What?" So that we run out, me and Dad and Luke run out there trying to find the Rybka Twins. And they were sitting in the waiting room at the ICU, not knowing where to go who to meet or anything. They didn't email back.
That's just nice.
So we almost missed them. They were sitting there with all their stuff about to leave.
Oh, they also brought me a balloon. Like a little balloon.
I remember seeing the picture.
It says get well soon.
Do you remember the questions you asked them?
Yes, I remember the exact questions I asked them. I asked them how to do a needle, which is basically grabbing your leg from behind and pulling it straight. And I asked them how to do your chest stand, which is rolling up onto your chest and putting your feet over your head.
And they gave her tips and everything.
They gave me tips. I remember them.
Did they help?
I don't know. I haven't tried. I'm not allowed to go back to dance until June.
Oh,
But she's been doing all kinds of stretchy things.
Not supposed to.
It's so funny.
The doctor said, "No, I'm gonna come get you."
Not again. I don't want to go back.
The funny thing is that she was completely lucid and they had just washed it off from. Remember, everything was bloody and sticky and
Oh
everything.
yeah, it was awful. Oh, also my hair was purple.
Yeah.
And when they washed my hair, they were washing the blood out of my hair. They thought that my head was still bleeding because the purple dye was coming out.
They were so confused. But she was perfectly clean like that picture.
But I remember taking the picture with them, and I remember being really sad because I couldn't smile and I couldn't open my eyes. I was like,
so swollen.
yeah, it looks like a potato more than ever.
And it was so cute because she just was completely awake and lucid and everything, just waking up from the second operation. They had just cleaned her up, pink quilt, and right after they left, out for another day. She literally was just out.
Only awake for the exact time that they were there.
Yeah. She was exhausted.
I remember Paola told me that she was freaking out when they walked in.
Yeah, she was so funny.
Paola loves the Rybka Twins.
I was like, she was so funny. So then we
I also remember the first day I got my phone back, and Paola was like, "Rose, check Instagram." So I was like, "Okay."
She doesn't have any friends, she tells me.
So I click on my Instagram app, not expecting anything, and I look at my notifications, and it says, "These people would like to follow you." So I was like, "Okay, approve." I finally just switched to a public account, and when I switched to a public account, I realized that I had 1,800 followers when I started at 117, and I've lost
10 times.
Yeah. So far, I've lost like 400 of those followers, but I still have over 1,000. So
dang,
that's pretty cool.
From my perspective, I remember really well when the Rybka Twins went, because we were all sending messages and I posted on Instagram and I DM'd them and everything. We didn't know if they were going to go or not. And we also didn't really know how you were doing. Like, we knew that you were alive, but the communication was so hard because...
I was just chilling.
Yeah, here...
15 hours.
Yeah, it's like, it's night when it's day, everything's switched, so it's hard to communicate. And so we didn't know, like, if you could talk. We had heard that you weren't going to be able to talk, you weren't going to be able to see, and so we're like, waiting to see if you're going to be paralyzed, basically. And then we see this video that Mom posted of the Rybka Twins, and there's Rose like, "Hey, I know which one you are." And I'm like, "Hey, she can talk," and the Rybka Twins came.
It was so cool.
I'm just the best.
And that's the only time she was really lucid. Anytime before that, or anytime after, it would have been...
So many spiders.
She took another couple of days to get really back to normal and be able to talk.
I remember you fed me pizza, and it was nasty.
Domino's.
I remember the video during this same time, because we found out basically everything through social media, because it was hard to communicate with you guys.
I just posted it on Facebook because I couldn't communicate with people individually.
And I remember I remember watching the video that Dad posted when he was singing.
Oh yeah.
I actually haven't seen that video.
What?
You haven't watched it? Why?
Just look through my Facebook.
I didn't.
Facebook.
It's on my Instagram too.
I know you tagged me in it, but I was really tired.
She's been tired for the last 4 months now.
That video
tired.
is hard to watch. And at that time when we saw it, we had no idea what was going to happen.
I remember thinking.
No, we're still going.
We're just talking about you can come in. You can sing the lullaby. We're talking about the lullaby. She's never seen it.
I remember thinking that my voice was completely gone because Paola was singing the I know you belong. And I tried to sing the top part because that's the part I usually sing, and I couldn't hit the note. And I was like, no!
So it was so scratchy.
You can take my seat if you want to sing that part. Okay.
Bye, Dad. I love you. That's a rock on side. I love you.
Call me.
Rock on.
We ended up being in the hospital for several weeks. And the doctors assumed that she wouldn't get out of the ICU for a week.
Man, I freaking hated just sitting in that bed. My legs got so tired.
Do you remember how long it took?
I don't know.
Less than a day.
Less than a day.
After the Rybka Twins, she just went to sleep. And by the time she woke up the next morning, they're like, oh.
But I had a brace on my foot.
So what were all of your injuries?
Okay, so I fractured my skull. It's very shattered, and if you want to feel, this part is still really soft. It goes all the way through here, all the way to here.
It's soft. Does it hurt if I touch it? Yeah, it is soft.
Yeah, it's weird. Also, my temples are way bigger than they were before.
Also, smarter.
Yeah, it goes, yeah.
So I can see the scar.
Yeah,
it's
fractured skull, scar, and I had a damaged tear duct.
She could have lost her vision. Look how close that is.
I could have lost my vision. It damaged my first tear ducts because I have like 4 tear ducts. And then,
so from here to here? Is that it?
It's like from here to like, yeah.
Okay.
And then I have a scar from the surgery. They cut open my head.
To clean it up.
If I want to look really little, I'll put my hair behind my ears. And I shattered my vertebrae back here, and they replaced that one with my hip bone. And then I shattered 3 here, and then I fractured several little bones in my foot.
And the wild thing is that they were able to take all the pieces of the skull. So they took out all the pieces, right? They washed them up, put them in the freezer, waiting for the swelling to come down. And then they're masterful. I mean, the plastics there are at the top of the world.
Yeah, they're top in skull recreation. Yes, construction.
Really?
That's what they started
Well, that's
off
a miracle.
as.
Yes. And they were able to put all the pieces together, so they didn't have to use any metal. When they put it back in February, right? In January, whenever they put it back,
29.
they were able to put it all back together. And
I do have screws in my neck though.
So, do you remember that story from Brother Bowden?
Yeah. Do you want me to tell it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So his companion was born without part of his skull on his mission because he went to Australia. And so the hospital in Perth, I don't remember most of the details.
He was from Perth.
Yeah, he was from Perth. And the hospital in Perth wanted to see if they could make him a new skull. And so they made him a new skull, and then like every year he would come in, well, not every year, but like
when he outgrew the
last skull, they would make him another one and put it back in. Until eventually they just made him a permanent skull out of like titanium, and he's like supports in his neck to hold his head up.
But think how crazy that was. So this was new technology 50 years ago when he had no skull.
Right.
And he had the parents had to sign a paper saying he's likely to die. But he was gonna die with a tiny little plastic thing anyway.
Right.
So that the first one they just tried it out of plastic, and they started to get better and better and better. But by the time Rose came along, almost 50 years, they had mastered the art of putting skulls together. So the bone, they put it in the freezer, and then they put like a mesh on it.
I wonder what my brain
to
looks
keep
like.
it all so they would glue back together.
So basically, they are the one place in the world that had been testing the technology needed to have reconstruction in the skull, and they've been testing on that guy for years and years.
Yes.
And that's happened to be the hospital where you were at.
Yes.
But you can tell my skull is crumbly if you feel right here. It's
Little
like
pieces.
a little bump.
Yeah, I can feel it, a little tiny bump.
They're supposed to grow into together. It's like just like little tiny bits.
Yeah,
here,
that's why there's
but
a
they
little
couldn't
gap.
quite the powder
You
in
can't
the
see
accident.
it.
Yeah, you can't see it.
I could feel it.
I only noticed it yesterday when I was like,
My skull.
Yeah, I was just like.
Let's talk about another little huge miracle. So she should have gotten all done with everything. So she was wearing a helmet and a brace and a foot brace, and she recovered so fast. They actually kicked us out of the hospital before her brain was not swollen because everything else was fine. So
I still have my brace and my helmet upstairs and my boot.
Yeah, you should go get it sometime.
Upstairs in my closet.
It was so weird because now we had no place to go. They said, "Oh yeah, the whole time you're here, you don't need to get a housing or anything because she'll be here forever until we put it back." But her whole body was so well because she's amazing and
I only
healthy.
had 2 days of physical therapy.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, I got up walking and I walked down the hallway and I walked back. And then the next day We walked up the stairs and back down, and then they're like, "Cool, you're good."
Strong, healthy, and determined. I mean, that kid, she was
My
just
legs
laughing
were
and
so
singing
hairy,
the whole
though.
time.
Mm-hmm.
So they ended up having us go somewhere. But the problem is that Perth is the epicenter of fun because the beaches are beautiful.
And it was Christmas time.
Christmas and
Right.
summer break for them.
So now this has been like a month.
Yeah. So around right before Christmas, like the 15th of
Literally
December.
the worst time to get stuck in a country is when it's Christmas and your birthday.
And it was weird though because there was nowhere we could be for the whole rest of the time, and they didn't even know how long that would be because they couldn't put the skull back. Her body was ready before Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
but they were all on Christmas break.
Oh.
Yeah, so they didn't. I was ready on the 21st of December, but the surgeons wanted to party, so we didn't do it until the end of January.
Yeah, it makes sense, you know.
Till the end of January. Why didn't they do it at the beginning
January
of January?
29th. We were supposed to do it on January 15th, but then they were like, "Nope, we're doing it on January 29th."
They just figured no, we
No
were
urgency?
we were pleasant. No, there was no urgency for them,
Right.
and for her there was no emergency. But
I wanna go
we
home.
moved 17 times,
11 times.
11 times. That's not counting the first place we were in when we had the accident and stuff. Just between those couple of months, we found Airbnbs and hotels. There were no hotels during Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
No hotels or Airbnbs. And we had this miracle house that you gotta tell them about.
We had this cute little house, and there was a grasshopper.
Cute little
that
house,
wouldn't
a
die.
cute massive mansion.
There was a grasshopper in my ceiling. Mom came to kill it. It wouldn't die.
Oh, that cute little house. Yes.
It was so bad. I hate bugs so much.
But at
There's this
Christmas,
giant grasshopper on my ceiling.
Australia is like the worst place for that too.
For bugs, yeah.
That's why I didn't want to go there in the first place. I hate bugs.
but during Christmas time, we were worried because we were gonna bring at least a couple of the kids because we still have young little kids. You know, we had Grant and Rachel and Scotty, and we wanted to bring them.
I don't want bugs to eat my feet.
Yeah, and we had no place to be. Everything was closed, even just for the two of us. There was nowhere. And this woman,
I still think we
That
should have
we-
just kept Rachel
yeah,
forever.
we met this woman in the seminar. Beautiful. Remember Peter's wife?
Yes.
Peter's the one that organized the seminar, and she happened to know somebody, and she's told people all over Facebook, you know, this family doesn't have anywhere to go for Christmas. Da, 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 da. A friend of a friend of a friend
It's the coolest freaking
gave
house
us
I've
this
ever lived in.
massive house that we stayed for a week and a half.
And it was right next to the beach.
That's so awesome.
$4 million house, out of nowhere.
And I
Pure
had my
miracle.
own cute little bedroom that had a bathroom and a giant closet that was definitely spiders in. And then this cool little balcony.
There was no little about any of that. Your massive bedroom. It was like, anyway, it was so cool. And then Scotty came and Rachel and Grant.
Yeah,
and Dad.
Scotty and Rachel and Grant came, and Rachel straightened my hair, and Scotty read us a book that Rachel brought while we were in the pool. There were these weird, freaky bugs that were in the pool. I remember a lot about bugs in Australia.
Yeah.
Remember how we walked just almost a mile every day?
Yeah, Mom made me walk a mile every day in my boot. It was awful.
And
Just,
a helmet and a brace.
You know, to recover, to
Yeah.
get
And
the
I very
blood flowing.
distinctly remember the day I took my boot off because we bought me some Vans there for Christmas and my birthday. I also got Doc Martens there for
Nice.
Christmas and my birthday. And the day I got my boot off, I put on my Vans and we took a picture.
And when was that? How long from the accident to when you got your
It
boot?
was my birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got it off
So,
on my birthday.
December
accident was on
30th.
Dad's birthday on the 15th? 16th, probably?
16th.
So
And
a
then-
month and a half.
Month and a half, your leg was healed.
Yep.
Yeah. But you still had the helmet and the brace,
Yeah,
Right.
and then I got my brace off on January 15th.
which was like 3 weeks earlier. Same with
Yeah,
the boots.
3 weeks early on my brace because my back healed so quickly. And I remember feeling very weird, and it looks like my neck was incredibly long.
Yeah.
Because you've been sitting in the brace.
I also broke my brace several times.
Really? How'd you break it?
So I was hanging out with these girls in the ward in wherever we were, Swanbourne, and we played Just Dance at their house.
And you're in this big
We
brace.
we got really into it, and so I got home and I walked in the door. And I was going upstairs to my bed, and Mom was like, "Hi," and I was like, "Hi," and then these like 4 screws fell out of my brace,
So scary.
and then Mom was like, "Close the door, bed. Go lay on the bed.
Don't move, don't move.
So I laid on the bed and she like put the screws back in.
So as a mom, I had to replace the brace twice a day or 3 times a day to make sure there were no sores and put moisturizer. And every time she bathed with the brace because she couldn't take it off. And if I ever did it wrong, she could have become paralyzed, right? So it was kind of terrifying that at that moment the screws fell off and the brace just went, and I'm like, but we survived the brace changing thing. But here's the thing that we did: we put essential oils.
Nice.
Yeah, frankincense specifically, and
she put it on my face one time and it burns.
Yeah, because she had a lot of bumps, but that helped. The doctors were like, "We never seen somebody heal so fast." I'm like, I'm not gonna tell you why.
I couldn't understand anything that doctor was saying because he had a weird accent.
He was Scottish from Australia.
Yeah, he had like a Scottish Australian accent.
What the?
And it was the
Can't
most
even picture that.
incoherent thing I've ever listened to.
It was hard to understand. But the walking, we also did. We drank. Where's your lemonade? This jar. This kind of jar of lemonade, 2 or 3 a day, because she did not for a while. Right after she woke up from her operations, the doctors were really worried because she was unwilling to drink or eat or anything because she's very picky to begin with, and nothing tasted good because she had blood from everywhere. Because this little bone shattered here too, so they replaced the whole thing over here.
Oh, and everything just tastes bad.
Like blood. Yeah.
And like right after they fixed my brain, everything still smells the same. But right after they put my skull back in, everything smelled like a rotting organ.
Yeah.
Gross.
It was awful.
So you said everything smells the same. Did you lose your sense of smell?
No, well I did for a long time. But I have smell now. The smell just needs to be really strong right next to my face or smell like what everything smells like to me. Everything smells like really strong chicken seasoning.
But so we did a lot of bone broth actually. Talk about chicken seasoning.
It was so good.
Something she was willing to eat.
Oh my gosh.
Bone broth,
So
fresh squeezed lemonade.
Chocolate croissants.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was very healthy. And the whole walking a mile and the oils because we were trying really hard to get her body.
An apple a day.
And a peach and like 10 strawberries.
An apple a day keeps anyone away if you throw it hard enough.
Nice.
So I think that was part of the reason. I mean, she's a complete fighter, but also we did a lot of therapy, like things like walking a mile in 100-degree weather.
Since when have your nails look like this?
I'm like, oh, I just got them from Cree today.
I just noticed. I thought they were Paola's nails.
And Rose was doing math, and were you doing science? No, she learned to play the ukulele out there.
I was doing math unwillingly.
Yeah, being forced.
Yeah.
I feel like I read, but I don't think I did.
You wrote a lot.
I wrote a lot. I don't even know what I wrote. It's like I read it now and I'm like, this doesn't make any freaking sense.
She's still on drugs.
Mom's face is a snake.
Strawberry mom. She wrote for hours.
I honestly don't know what I did because I don't have a lot of writing. So did I just like stare at the page? I don't know.
She was going like this. Maybe she was just making the noise.
That's funny.
I did find a lot of new music while I was in Australia though.
Yes.
I learned how to play the ukulele.
Nice.
And I still play the ukulele. The ukulele's in my room. And I took voice lessons.
Oh, yes. Tell about
I
that.
love Kyra. Kyra's great. Kyra was my voice teacher. And she's very cool.
Another miracle, right?
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We were walking because we were at the mall and I wanted to eat Nando's because Nando's is freaking delicious.
Chicken. She only ate chicken.
Nando's was like a long, long ways away. So we walked like one does when you're torturing your daughter.
Right.
When you have no car.
It's called Uber. And we were walking and I saw a sign that said voice lessons. And I was like, hey, Mom, we should take voice lessons here. She was like, yeah. And then we ate chicken and it was very good.
The cool thing is that I called the number the next day because Rose is like, I just need to keep her alive. It was really difficult to be out there, no family,
I really
nothing.
want to go see a Broadway show.
I know, she didn't want to go to the beach. She didn't want to be in the sun. She had all these layers of stuff.
Yeah.
And I had to put sunscreen on my face every time I went in the sun, like a lot of sunscreen, or else my scar would get really yucky.
Yeah,
Right.
she's done a good job. You can barely tell it's there. Anyway, so I called the number and they said, oh, ma'am, we'll call you if there are any teachers available, but it's summertime and all the teachers are on vacation. Within 20 minutes, they call me back. There's one teacher. But she said she's a Broadway expert. I don't know if that's the kind you want. But the Broadway, and I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
So
She
me
was
and
like 25.
Kyra worked on 3 songs, all from Broadway musicals. We worked on a song from Dear Evan Hansen, a song from Beetlejuice, and a song from Waitress.
What song from Waitress?
She Used to Be Mine.
That's the song she was talking about.
Yeah, Mom listened to She Used to Be Mine in the hospital while I was in surgery.
Oh, that was not a good
We
idea.
also learned what baking can do from Waitress.
Tell the words of that. She used to be mine. That's why it's so sad.
You want me to say all of the
You
words?
just sing it.
I have a recording of it in my Gmail. But yeah, we recorded with her professional recording mic, She Used to Be Mine, and then she sent it to me. And then we learned Home from Beetlejuice and Waving Through a Window from Dear Evan Hansen, and we recorded both of those. And it was really fun hanging out with her. She's pretty cool.
We had like an hour class every day just to have something to live
It
for.
was so fun.
And so we took the Uber
I'm sweating.
from whatever house we were in. We either take an Uber or the bus. And that was the one thing that I just needed her to be in the sunshine
Did
and walking.
every day.
Every day.
It's so fun.
And then you could hear them in the studio a little bit because it was padded. No, I was
Yeah,
in
it
the
was a
floor.
soundproof studio.
And I was inside, of course, it was 100 degrees. And Rosie, I was out in the foyer. And sometimes they wouldn't be singing or anything. I said, Rose, are you taking advantage of the singing? And she's like, Mom, you're just paying for me to have a friend.
Yeah, I was just chilling with Kyra. She's pretty cool.
She's 25 years
awesome.
old, really fun. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, she was a teacher. Yeah.
You made some friends too. Remember that
Oh yes,
cute girl?
Charlie. I still have Charlie's Snapchat and Instagram, and we have a streak on Snapchat. She's pretty cool. And then Ashley, who's Charlie's friend, we had a High School Musical marathon,
The day they did the dancing.
but we never finished the 3rd one.
You know what's so crazy? Well, of course, we went to Australia. We didn't know anybody. We knew a couple of people from I had gone a year before to the training, and then this was a certification, so I knew a few of the people there.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, they became our family. They were like angels. They even brought us Thanksgiving dinner. You know, when you're in the hospital, I don't know if you've been in the hospital, but you're there and just think, I just want to disappear. You know, I don't want to ask anybody for anything. And they would just show up with candy and fruit.
I know, it was so annoying. They'd show
Thanksgiving.
up and stay for like 4 hours. I was like, just leave me alone.
I loved it.
I heard the story about the singular care basket that you were looking
yeah.
for. The
Oh, they
fruit.
sent me blankets.
Oh, we got lots of care baskets, actually.
Wasn't there something where Rose wanted like peaches or something and you couldn't find them anywhere? And then
Takis.
but the singular people sent it or something like that?
Yes.
Was it Takis?
Yeah. But one of the things that happened, tell about Macrina, remember that?
Oh yeah, Macrina sent with Melka, when Melka came, 2 bags of Takis.
Yeah, before that. So our friend, Brother Cross, is from Perth.
Right.
And so he called his people that he knew. I happened to be the bishop of the ward next door to our ward. And so he came over to visit, because in the hospital you just show up, right? So he came over to visit, and then we got talking about life. And he said, oh, my daughter is in Utah because she used to serve in Highland as a missionary. And I said, really? What are the chances?
Oh yeah, I forgot about this.
And we just didn't say much about that after. But then, with like the next day, we find out that she met Gustav at a party, your cousin, Gustav. She's sitting here in Utah, and she said, no, I'm from Australia, and he said something like, oh, I have a cousin in the hospital. And she's like, is she from Perth? Is she in Perth? I mean, they figure out there was the same child. So Macrina gave that girl a bag of Takis and a card and a bunch of stuff to send to her to, like, within a couple of days, because she was on her way home from Australia. I mean, what are the chances of meeting Gustav
They're so young.
at a party?
Yeah, wow.
Oh.
I had people come up to me at the U. I had this guy come up to me that was from one of my classes, and he's like, hey, you don't know me. This may be kind of weird, but is your sister okay? I was like, what?
How did you know
And
that?
I guess he was friends with Gustav and Emil or something, and
Oh,
he saw that they had posted it, and so he realized that he like saw pictures of me and
So
put
funny.
it all together.
I also remember every day for like 3 weeks in the hospital, they would feed me this yucky, goopy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I was explaining it to you before.
I
It's
remember.
like fish oil with chunks.
Ooh, sounds good.
And then Dad like put cranberry juice in it, so it would
Make
like
it worse.
be more diluted, I guess. But it was just so nasty. And Mom told me if I didn't drink it, then I couldn't have my Takis.
But do you know what it was for, right?
It was for like cleaning out my intestines.
Her intestines weren't working because she had been so so everything slowed down for the operations. Everything turned off. So she had not been able to do a bowel movement for a long time. So she ended up choosing, it's kind of too personal, but she said, no, I'd rather do an enema than that. So she had an enema every morning. Instead of taking a stupid group that was this much of it.
It was so gross.
So funny, you're that picky. Rather have an enema.
Do you know how freaking yucky that stuff was?
And some people sticking things up your butt is not yucky.
Mom, have you ever tried the goop?
Yes, I tried it.
Why?
To see how awful it was, and it wasn't that bad.
It was so bad. You didn't drink multiple cups of it every day.
Multiple cups. So it was
You had
this
2
much.
cups of it every single day.
They were this much, and it was so funny because I thought that maybe if somebody threatened her with an enema, she would drink it. No chance. So
there's another alternative. I'll take that.
So they did the enema. And I thought, okay, the second time she has to do the enema, she'll figure out that it's easier to drink. Oh no, every day she was doing it. She was that picky.
I wonder if
She's
you
like
had the
your
option
sister.
now, if you'd still do that.
Yeah, she would, but we found
Have you
pills.
ever tasted that stuff?
No, I don't know what you're
And
talking
It is
about.
Pills.
so nasty.
I think I was Paris. I finally said, "Oh, we have it in a pill form. Would you like it like that?" And she's like, "Yeah."
Paris was my favorite nurse.
Yeah.
She braided my hair once.
She was so cute.
I also remember distinctly telling Dad to brush my teeth because they felt nasty.
Yeah, with all the.
Could you not brush your teeth?
I
She
couldn't
couldn't
move
move
my
anything.
arms
She was like literally like this.
all day.
She could. I mean, somebody else could do it for her, but
What
she
did you
couldn't
do? Just talk? Like, did you watch movies?
No, I just laid there and stared at the stupid vent in the ceiling.
With the spider?
Yeah.
So she was stiff for a while, but then she was able to move up, and little by little. But
I
Dad
rolled onto
read,
my
I
face once.
read. We watched movies on the iPad. Just kind of held them over her head like this. Was
Right,
very
make sure not to drop them.
She had a big sticker here. Do you remember that sticker?
Yeah, it's a
No pressure.
no
It's,
pressure.
I want a sign that says that because it sounds like a cute little quote, like no pressure, with like a little sun and a beach tree.
Yeah,
But it's just my face. No pressure.
no
Because
pressure.
he had no bones in there, and the nurses.
So there's this one nurse that was changing my brace, and she flipped me onto my face. And I was like, you understand that I can't have any pressure on my head. That's what this sign means.
So scary. I'm glad I was there every second. So they took like 7 nurses to flip her the first few weeks. The changing that I was doing with her, I just did it on my own eventually. I got pretty good at it, and she was able to flip herself with the brace, and you put it on and you take it off, and you know. But they would take 7 or 8 nurses to just help her flip over
So it didn't hurt my back or my face.
because she couldn't move anything. That was
What
fun.
else happened?
I've heard the story about the flies. Do you want to tell that story?
Yeah.
What?
So the flies that we were talking about, I was having a hard time waving them as much as I could. But it was difficult. I could barely move my arm. And the next morning, you don't know this because you were out of it. I just kept praying, for you, of course, because we didn't know if you were gonna be alive after the operation, or if you could speak, or if you could be mentally right. And I just kept thinking, as it was Thanksgiving month. I remember the bishop said to us, just say a 15-minute prayer at least of just thanking God. Or it was like 30 minutes of me thanking. And then I kept thinking, I'm running out of stuff to say. And the idea of the flies kept coming to my head. And I finally said, thank you for the flies. And I was like, I feel ridiculous. Why the heck am I saying thank you for the flies?
Because flies keep you awake because they're annoying.
Right. So after the prayer, I'm just sitting there going, we didn't know how long it would take until they had to call us, and you weren't awake for several hours. And I'm just laying there praying and thinking, and the idea, I thought, oh my, you knew that. No, as a child you even knew that. The flies were so obnoxious that they kept you lucid. Does that make sense? And I couldn't have kept you lucid just trying to do so much. And those annoying flies actually saved your life, which was really kind of a cool moment when I thought, oh, thank you for the flies. Yeah, it was good.
I also started a YouTube channel in Australia.
Yeah, that's right. What's your @ so people can follow you?
It's at Rosie Fletcher. It's not very creative.
I've watched your videos. The video, I saw like you put the one when you're in the hospital in there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I remember, what was the thought you had? So the first 2 operations, you didn't know they were happening. You woke up when the twins came, it's the first time she realized she wasn't at home. And they're like, oh. She's like, what? The twins are coming? What? Where am I? What's happening? But then the last operation, what did you think about that? Because you were fully conscious and you knew they had to open you up all the way.
Well,
and
it's not really a decision.
Remember the paper they had to sign?
No.
That's the paper that said, but the problems?
Oh my gosh. So they wrote all the things that could possibly go wrong in the surgery. And they said that I could have a seizure during the surgery and then I would like die. And then they said I could die or I could like be paralyzed. I don't remember exactly what it said.
Okay, it's working. Sorry.
But I remember it said something really scary.
Yeah, the scary thing that it said was that you can be brain damaged.
Oh, it also said that I could get an infection in my brain, which actually might still happen, where they have to take it out and we start all over again.
Right.
Really?
That could happen anytime.
They made you sign a paper so that you couldn't sue them if those things happened?
Yeah, and she had to sign it too. So she was fully awake, fully able to understand, and the doctor's just telling her, this child, sign here, you're likely to die, and all those things that she listed. And I remember you saying, I don't know if you remember this, telling me, and she thought, okay, I'm just going to keep my helmet on the rest of my life because there's no way I could die, and she had, it was like a week or two later, more, because that was before the break. She had to live with this idea for almost a month to figure out whether or not,
I hate that stupid helmet.
knowing that the choice was to be with a helmet and never be able to do anything again because she has soft tissue, or to put that skull back and take the risk. And she never complained about going to the operation. Do you remember the last time when you went into the last operation?
Oh, we went in, it was kind of scary because Rachel was like, I'll never see you again. And I came in and they were like, I had these cute little braids and they put a thingy in my arm. They were like, you ready? And I was like, yes. And then they took me into the anesthesia room and they played one of my favorite songs, Ocean Eyes by Billie Eilish, while they were putting the anesthesia in. And it like feels super weird. They put laughing gas on my face and then they put a needle thing in my hand. And you could like feel it going up your arm, and then it felt like it rested in your throat. And then you get like really dizzy, and it looked like everything was in staccato. And then I remember like closing my eyes for a second because I felt really tired. And then I opened them, and I was in the ICU. So weird.
It was so cute though, because she's in there just laying there.
I had my favorite blankie.
We said, what song shall we play? And she couldn't think of any. I said, Ocean Eyes. And the nurse was like, okay. And then Rosie's like, bye, mommy. I love you, mommy. Like, I'm about to get my skull. They're about to break me into pieces.
I also really wanted a cinnamon roll in the ICU, and I never got my cinnamon roll.
But we got plenty out there in between.
They finally gave it to me in the ICU when it was all dry, and I was like, why didn't you just give it to me in the first place?
Yeah, because you couldn't eat that day.
Just wanted a cinnamon roll.
I just think brave would be a good description of you.
They also gave me a pain pump, and I used it like 3 times. And I didn't sleep that whole night. I just like stared at the nurse on duty, and she was like, hi.
Yeah, it was really amazing because she had very little pain medication. She didn't.
Also, I really liked looking at my, the heart rate monitor like goes in and up with like your breaths. I really liked taking a really big breath and then holding my breath.
Just to mess up with the thing. That's why I kept beeping. Now we know.
I'm so funny.
So many miracles and so many nice people that took care of us.
Yeah, Rachel came and hung out with me in the ICU.
Do you remember that French guy that brought us that pastry?
Oh, it was very good.
Yes, a French
I told you there was a French chef that we met in Australia.
from our ward.
Interesting.
Yeah, he made us crepes.
Oh, yeah, you did mention that. That's funny. In Australia, French food.
Yeah, he brought the most incredible pastry. I don't even know what it was called.
It was really good.
What about your trial stuff? Do you want to talk about any of that?
Oh, wow. That was interesting, huh?
It was so tiring. I had to keep my head up the whole time.
Yeah, it was difficult because I was at fault, of course, but it wasn't malicious and I wasn't drunk and I didn't do anything wrong, right? It was really an accident. But the law would have her be against me, just even though she didn't press any charges, but that's just what the law requires.
Right.
So I ended up having my lawyer, but then my lawyer ended up having to be the one that defended her. So he got me to another lawyer. Anyway, long story. He said very likely you could be in jail for 6 months, and she just
in
had
Australia.
to be in Australia. She had to be in the hospital by herself because Dad came 7 times,
Who
which
would
was
get me KFC?
yeah, right, because that's what I did. I got KFC, and it was so interesting because we were praying and fasting, and thousands of people all over the world from our networks, me and Dad and you guys and the first day we showed up for the trial, the lawyer said, wow, it's really weird, like the perfect person is out there, the one that has a lot of sympathy for this kind of thing. She's like a mom or something. And he's like, wow, that's really weird because she's never usually here. The judge, yeah, it's like it's not really a judge, but it's something like that.
Right.
And then she said, we can just do it January 15th or something. Instead of the next trial should have been like 6 months, even if they didn't put me in jail. So obviously they didn't put me in jail, and they kept it in the lower court, which was incredible because the higher court is a mess. Trying to get is a lot messier. So then the next time I show up, and they had taken my passport away. I couldn't even go a mile from the airport. And then my lawyer suggested that I get recommendation letters saying that I am a good citizen. Because what happens is you have a record in Australia. So anytime I have to travel, I will have to say, oh yes, I have a record in Australia. They don't know what it is. They could think that I murdered somebody,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I got these letters, beautiful letters from my friends, Mariah and Ray Price and Susan Rollins, people I've known for a long time. They wrote these incredible letters. I mean, wow, I'm like, this is way better than I am, but I'll take it. So we go to that morning, and the judge, the magistrate, is reading like, wow. He just kept looking at me like he was reading it, and he said, you're an exemplary citizen. We almost never have anybody like this in a court.
You're like high moral something.
Yes, he said the high moral caliber. And he was like treating me like I was some kind of queen. He said, $500 fee. No jail, no record, no, it would have been like $20,000.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like super expensive. The least it would have been like $3,000.
$500. And she said, wow, it's such an honor to meet you. Wow. And the lawyers are just like, oh my gosh, you're so wonderful. We never get to deal with people like this. Which just makes sense, right? I wasn't on the wrong side of the law. I just happened to be an American driving in Australia.
Yeah.
Weren't you supposed to travel to Wuhan, China?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. I'm sad that you had an accident, but I would probably have coronavirus right now.
Be quarantined in China.
The 16th of December, which was at the height of this, I had a speaking engagement in Wuhan, China.
Where the coronavirus was originated.
Where it started. And it was, ironically, it was a conference on natural health and how the family affects not the health of the family, because I do family, sustainable families, right? So I was invited as a guest speaker.
Mm-hmm.
And all these big people from all over the world were in there. And of course I wasn't going to miss my commitment. So I said to Dad, let's trade, which he was willing to do because he was coming and going. I said, the week that I go to China, can you be here? And he was like, sure. Something happened.
Chilled.
Yeah.
So much. We watched a movie every night and we ate such good food.
Yeah, he likes the junk food that Rose likes.
No, we ate like this really nice salmon that he made.
After
so
I left. Yeah, so anyway, the Wuhan thing. After I left, Daddy took her for a week so I could go back and watch Grant's play. And he made you beautiful food, I remember that. But something happened with Singular, some major, they were having a convention or something, right? And he couldn't get away at the last minute. He had his flight. At the last minute, he couldn't replace me. And I wasn't about to leave her with a friend. So that whole combination.
You should have just brought Rachel, and then Rachel would just chill with me.
Yeah, 2 minors in a hospital in Australia.
Sounds great.
And we were still in the hospital by then. She was still hospitalized. But I just thought, oh my gosh, it was like right there. I could have gotten so sick.
Yeah, wow.
Wuhan, yeah. I didn't even notice until Dad said, isn't that where you're supposed to be going? I'm like, yeah, apparently. Such a funny spelling. I wouldn't. Anyway.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah. it was good. We had a good. It was a good memory. Difficult, but we had good days. Rose and I just got to know each other better.
We bought a lot of cute clothes.
Yes.
And a really good gelato.
How did it affect your relationship?
It explains it. I don't know how much you liked me right before the trip because you was going into her. I am 12 and I don't like my mom.
I'm 13.
Right. You were 12 and you didn't like your mom in a Jordan. But then after this, I think she understood how much I love my baby. Drop everything for her.
Why does my phone keep buzzing? I don't have friends.
Only 2,000 friends.
They're not friends. They're just people that follow me.
No, we're friends.
Only Rachel's friends talk to me.
She's my professional friend. Remember that letter you wrote me once?
Oh, yes. I'm a professional friend.
To mom?
I was like 8 and I was like, I want to sound very professional. I'm a professional friend.
That's
so
funny.
she wrote me this beautiful letter about when I had to go to New York. You're a professional friend.
Jeffrey's so soft.
Is there anything... Oh, yeah. Is there anything else that you guys remember about it? Like any other miracles or stories? Does that feel like you've told it? If I were to show this to my unborn baby in 20 years, do you think he'll know? Like the full scope of what happened?
It was really boring most of the time.
I believe that.
Kind of just sat in my room, did nothing. I made a lot of TikToks.
I remember the TikTok that you made was so funny with Paola. I don't remember what the song was, but she's like, yeah.
It's back when I couldn't bend my arm, so I was like,
and Paola's like going at it, and you're just like straight on.
I just think I actually started the book this morning because there's got to be 1,000 miracles that we can line up. I mean, the chances of us meeting
17 Miracles, the sequel.
Like the Uber driver, remember, like every little thing we needed, it was instantly right there. Like this beautiful friend that is a chef, he moved us a couple of times. We couldn't have done it. By the time we were moving 11 times, we have so much stuff. All these beautiful presents that came to us.
Though I hate hotels.
Yeah. I think that's what
I also got, so they came over, Ashley and her dad came over the last day. You weren't there.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Ashley is the girl I was hanging out with in the ward that we watched High School Musical with.
Oh, right.
And we like ate pizza and we had some watermelon, we had some Coke. And then they bought me this cute little koala charm to put on my necklace, and it's like cute and little, and they got like really expensive little koala charm from Pandora. And it's in my drawer and it's really cute.
Yeah, we had really the people being complete strangers. We within those 3 months we have people that I consider family. You know, there's so many people that came to visit, and like it felt like 4 hours for this little girl because she's a little girl, but it was amazing to me. It was amazing that when I needed something very specific, like God would send this person to show up in the hospital, somebody that I kind of knew from the camp, and eventually we were like siblings. You know, it was just beautiful how we needed special medicine or
these
clothes for her.
These old people kept bringing us cinnamon rolls.
So sweet. Oh, I love that guy with his wife, and they're so sweet.
Do you still have recovering to do? You still have stuff going on because of it?
I'm supposed to leave my back and my neck alone until June before I can go back into like normal activities. So I can go back to Lyra and lacrosse and dance in June.
About 3 weeks ago, remember?
That is if coronavirus doesn't ruin everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Remember, is it 3 weeks ago that she just had this? 4 weeks ago, she had this massive bumps all over. Remember that? It's almost over.
Oh yeah.
Like we didn't know what it was. She got this swollen.
Hives everywhere, and then I had a swollen lymph node, and then my skin got super dry and flaky, and then I got like these sores on my arms and my thighs.
Did you get to see that?
I heard about it a little bit.
Yeah, because it was already quarantined.
You probably have a picture of it somewhere.
Yeah, we were already in quarantine.
And then didn't your
face
get all swollen?
Yeah, my lymph node right here, and then they stuck needles, 8 of them, in my face.
Do you still have to do physical therapy?
No, she's fine.
No, I'm just chilling.
Yeah, and they did antibiotics and stuff to take down the infection right before Corona stuff. I don't know that it would have been doable now. So, and my cloud still hurts like crazy because I never arrested it. You know, I was supposed to arrest it, but how? You know, I needed to comb this little girl's hair, feed her, make lemonade.
All better now.
Had to make lemonade.
Anything else you guys want to say?
I'm trying to think what happened. We drank a lot of lemon and bitters, and I don't know where to get them anymore.
I know where the store is closed.
Please get them.
It's an Australian brand of ginger ale.
You going back to Australia anytime soon?
Never.
Awesome.
I
We
think
saw
we became really
kangaroo.
good friends. I think to me that was the biggest miracle.
That was pretty cool.
My little teenage girl is back to liking me again.
I've heard stories about people when they have head injuries that it changes their personality.
Oh
That
yeah,
happen at
you're
all?
supposed. It's my injury is supposed to affect my impulse control. So they
Oh, excuse me.
they did tests where they were like,
I must have punched so hard I caught corona. Sorry.
they did tests like even if you know the answer to this question, don't say it. But my impulse control is so messed up that I couldn't not say it.
Really?
Hermione.
You still struggle with that?
I don't know.
She's doing really well. I've been watching it.
I say mean things all the time. Don't know why.
I know another blessing is that I've been studying psychology all this time, and I could speak to the psychologists because usually they don't take you seriously. Or the doctors.
I talked to a psychologist.
Yeah, now I said to him,
I feel like we only had one appointment with them and we missed it on accident.
I know she was no. They came to visit me, but it was a beautiful thing that I could speak the language, and I said, okay, is the frontal lobe is it likely to be a problem with infant control? And he's like, oh, you know about that? And I said, yes. So what should I watch for?
I thought it was a girl.
I think she's good. She's good, but just it's nice talking about it. We never really talked about it since it happened, right? Rose is a hero. She's definitely a hero, and all the brothers and sisters-in-law stuff here were so supportive.
It was a crazy time.
Yeah, we were gone for 3 months.
Rachel
Yeah.
visited 4 times.
Oh yeah, I just gotta say, Cree and Maddie especially, and you guys of course, but they took care of the children while we were gone.
Yeah,
yeah,
we
so
we
amazing.
stayed here for
Rachel
a couple
said
weeks.
it was like a party.
Yeah, we just watched movies and made dinner every night.
Fed them, yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
All things considered, and tons of people brought food from Singular, from the ward. There was so much support.
You know, Kalina Miller brought some from Maryland. She made
Really?
her friend from Utah made a meal for us.
It made me
Really?
really sad though because I would scroll through my Instagram and I saw all my friends hanging out and having fun and I was just sitting on the couch.
And the timing, I mean, right when you get back, you're like, hey, I'm finally back in the United States.
Freaking
Boom.
quarantined.
Corona.
But think about how timely that was. We would have
Oh, I
taken
keep
2
Paola.
weeks longer in Australia for any jail time or anything. We would not be able to escape because they had closed the
I
flights.
wouldn't
by then.
get any Chick-fil-A.
You'd be stuck.
You'd be stuck and sick probably because Australia got hot. Oh, it was during the fires.
Yeah, I forgot about that. The fires in
Fires
Australia.
Everything was on fire
Everything was
except
on
for us.
Except for
Yeah,
Perth.
That's
Everywhere
right.
was.
The only place in Australia that wasn't on fire was Perth. It was the one area that wasn't affected.
Yeah, and then Australia flooded. That was fun. I also saw the
Definitely.
Sydney Opera House, and we were gonna see Six the Musical, but we didn't get to.
Not
Just
enough
wanted
time
to
in Sydney.
see a Broadway show. That was my one wish in the hospital was to go see a Broadway show. Now Broadway's closed, and I wanted to see Beetlejuice, and Beetlejuice closed in March, and now I'm
They'll
sad.
open it again.
No,
yeah,
they
because it
won't.
kept her alive actually.
Not
That was one of
soon.
her wishes.
Not soon. You're right. It won't be soon, probably.
And then Mom will forget that she promised me to go to Broadway.
I don't think I'll be forgetting any time. I have too many witnesses.
I won't be
Plus,
able to
now
go
we've
see
got it.
Beetlejuice.
Now we've got it recorded.
And my favorite actress from Beetlejuice left.
So we missed Dad's birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Brad's birthday, my anniversary,
My birthday,
your birthday.
New Year's, Vanessa's birthday, Mom's birthday.
You guys got back on our anniversary,
The day after
February
Valentine's.
15th. Yeah.
Miss Valentine's.
Then we went to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, we did. So November 15th to February 15th was how long you were in Australia. Well, not how long you were
Plus a
in Australia,
week.
but yeah, plus all the time before.
Yeah.
I just want Paola back. Where did she go?
I know, Paula's.
She went home.
Any final words? Anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Shout out to Paola.
Shout out to Paola.
She also has
Paola's
a YouTube
awesome.
channel and an Instagram that's pretty neat.
What are her?
Her Instagram is at PaolaArkel16, which is also her TikTok, and her YouTube is just Paola Arkel.
And if you want to watch the video of Rose in the hospital, because you made it for your YouTube channel, what's your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is Rosie Fletcher, and my Instagram is Rosie __ Fletcher, and my TikTok is Rose is awkward.
Well, thanks for the interview. It's good to have this.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, guys.